and non-stop sports action. Bring your crew, grab a seat, and stay a while. Right here at All Season Sports Grill, where the food is hot, the drinks are cold, the game is always on, and you make the call.
I'm Emmitt Smith. Pro football and fatherhood have taught me you need the right equipment for what life throws your way, including an opioid emergency. I've lost teammates and loved ones to opioid poisoning. It's the leading cause of accidental death in the U.S. But now I have the power to save a life, and so do you. Lay, spray, stay. 3 words to help save someone in need. Lay the person on their back. Use Narcan nasal spray as directed to reverse the effects of an opioid emergency. Dial 911 and stay with them until emergency help arrives. Continue to administer additional doses as needed. An opioid poisoning can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. So learn the signs and symptoms of an opioid emergency and always be ready to rescue. Learn more at readytorescue.com.
This message brought to you by The Game Nashville and Cromwell Media.
You enjoy the thrill of gambling, but what happens when it becomes a problem? Whether you want to cut back or quit gambling altogether, the Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling for over 2 decades. We're here to help, not to judge. The Gambling Clinic is a Tennessee-based clinic offering in-person and telehealth support to help people win back their life. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Brought to you by the Gambling Clinic, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Hi there. Welcome to Huntington Bank. We're new here, but we've been around since 1866, and we believe that we should all get more from money.
Okay, like what?
Well, like bankers that take the time to learn your whole financial picture and help plan the best path with you.
That sounds good.
And accounts that automatically build your savings each day.
Ooh, I like that.
How about getting paid up to 2 days early?
Okay, now you're just showing off.
Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
Live on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
This is Nick Frazier. We start on Rocky Top, where Tennessee landed one of the biggest recruiting victories in the country. 5-star running back David Gabriel George has committed to the Volunteers, and the buzz doesn't stop there. Reports indicate George's NIL package is valued at a record-setting $6 million over the next 3 years, making one of the largest deals ever associated with Tennessee football. To the NFL as the Tennessee Titans rookies report to training camp today, with the veterans arriving next Tuesday, July 28th, as the countdown to kickoff is officially underway. On the pitch, Nashville SC kept the good times rolling with a 1-0 victory over CF Montreal at Geodis Park last night. Sam Surge delivered the game's only goal from the penalty spot, as he now leads the team with his 10th goal of the MLS season to lift the boys in goal to their 5th straight league win. Goalkeeper Brian Schwacke was just as important, recording another clean sheet as Nashville extended its unbeaten streak to 10 matches and remained perfect at home in league play this season with 8 wins, no losses, and 1 draw.
For more, log on to theGameNashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
35 years of the best sports talk in Nashville. It's the George Plaster Show with Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame quarterback Kelly Holcomb and young gun Lewis Maddox. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. Beautiful Thursday. Hot. Right now, doesn't look like any rain out there. That's good news. Who knows how long that lasts. We got a good show for you today. As soon as he gets on board, we'll get into it with Danny Evans. 4 o'clock hour, we'll get pretty spicy. We'll get into LSU football with a head coach by the name of Lane Kiffin and Matt Moscona, who is wired to the LSU scene. He'll join us around 4:25, and we'll talk about, okay, what has the impact been so far of Lane Kiffin being with us? I hear that little in the background, so I know Danny is close to being with us. Let's go to Murfreesboro first. and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
Are we hello and be done?
Excuse me?
I said, are we hello with Danny coming on and be done with it, or
hello?
I mean, I had to go to a psychologist today because I spent way too much time with you yesterday.
What did he say?
He said, you're just going to have to figure it out. I don't know what to tell you, man. That dude seems screwed up.
Well, his swing certainly is.
Yes.
Lewis, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
Well, that's wonderful.
How are you doing, George?
I'm good, thank you. Can we cut out the nonsense and get to Danny?
We can.
Okay, let's bring him up. There's that Wrigley Field in the background. Danny, how you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. Sounds like a scramble yesterday. Am I correct?
It was.
We did.
I did the best
I'm
I could.
I'm still having nightmares, Danny. Still having nightmares, brother. Sorry.
Yeah, but at least George carried you, right?
Oh, yeah, he did. He did.
Danny,
he gets it out there about 75 yards with his driver, Danny. There's no pop to that at all.
That is not true. But Danny, at one point, a little frustrated with Kelly. You know, the ball is here and I need to go hit it. And I said, get out of the way, you loser.
Wow.
Well, he goes up. You know how a scramble works, Danny. You go up to the green, and all four of you look at the putt, and you're saying, hey, this goes right. I think you need to aim right there. Well, everybody's still like rounding balls up. You know, maybe I'm the closest, or Clayton was the closest, or Chris was the closest because George never was. But you're going to round up your balls around the green, and you look up, and George is putting. So he's no team player. He don't care where it's going. And every time you ask him, hey, George, what do you see? I see it going in the middle of the cup. And not once did he hit it in the middle of the cup.
You know what's sad about that, Danny? It's true.
I love scrambles because you remember your 2 or 3 good shots, and all the other ones, they are quickly dismissed.
It's apparently like fishing, where you can sit there for 4 hours and not get anything done. But if all of a sudden, you know, you catch Jaws at the end, you know, the thing that was in the movie,
right.
Then you're back. Then you're back a week later.
Oh,
so, Danny, I put together a little bit of a list today.
Okay.
That I want you to take a look at in just a second. Okay. As we know, the trade deadline is around the corner. Virtually every team that's looking for something is looking for starting pitching. The Cubs maybe more than anybody because they've had 100 million injuries. But there are a lot more teams that need help than there is available stuff. So I want you to look at this list, and I'm going to read the list out. I've got huge question marks by Tarek Skubal. Who knows what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Casey Mize, Jack Flaherty in Detroit, Dean Kramer with the Orioles, Kevin Gausman in Toronto, Michael Walker, Seth Lugo with Kansas City, Joe Ryan with the Twins, Reed Detmers, Jose Soriano with the Angels. The National League, to me, is even harder. And here are the 6 that I put down. Freddie Peralta, Sean Manaea, Clay Holmes, all with the Mets. Brady Singer in Cincinnati. Nashvillian Robbie Ray with the San Francisco Giants. And Michael Lorenzen with the Colorado Rockies. Is that close to the group?
Yeah, I think I'd add May from the Cardinals. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He could be a guy, and I think the Nationals too. Griffin could be an option. He's a free agent at the end of the season, so he could be a guy they could turn into. But I think, yeah, you've got it. I think Sugano is a guy that I think with Colorado you might like. I would inquire about Cincinnati's Hunter Green. Hunter Green still has a couple more years. I know he's got 2 more years on his contract, but he'd be a guy, if you really want to play hard, that you can find out whether or not he's available or not. But I think they're good names, George. But here's my take on the whole thing. there's only about 7 or 8 teams that are out. And there's another, I don't know, maybe 10 to 13 clubs that are a fence sitter right now on July 23rd. The deadline's not till the 3rd of August. And there's 3 teams that are looking for top of the line starters. Your Braves, Philadelphia, and the Cubbies. So those 3 teams are going to be in on everybody, which is going to knock the prices up on everyone. I think it comes down to, George, are you looking for someone to get in, or are you looking for someone to win the whole darn thing? And I'm going to throw a real wrench into this for me, George, just a different approach. If you don't think you can get one of those top guys, and I think Ryan, Scooble, I thought Gray was a guy, but there's no way the Red Sox are going to do that now. I think Alcantara could have been a guy, but Miami's close. If you can't get one of the better guys, I would think about trying to get Miller. Put Miller at the back of your bullpen, thickens up your bullpen, takes some pressure off your rotation, and Miller can affect you 3 out of 5 days, whereas the starter can only get you 1 out of every 6.
It's an interesting theory, and I'm hearing it more and more. So I'm going to do one of these Kelly questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm stealing it, and I know it, and he's going to go berserk. So you're the general manager of a team that's 3 out of the final wild card,
mm-hmm.
and you want to bring all your people in for a conversation over the next 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And is there somebody in the room that finally looks up at general manager Danny and goes, Danny, who's kidding who? We may slip in. We're going nowhere. Sell.
First of all, George, I don't think you can do that meeting this late in the process. You've got to have people out in the field. You got to see them seeing starting pitchers. So this time of the year, you're kind of in no man's land. You can no longer have in-person meetings. They've got to be virtuals. I know some teams are doing that, but they're the teams that you and I off the air would kind of laugh at. Okay, you can't work that way. You can't make those kind of moves. To really fully answer Kelly's question, George, I think what we have to do here is you've got to look at who on your staff is going to tell you the truth and who is going to be the salesman in the room. And if your people are empowered and they've been part of the entire process, truth serum is flowing in the room. I would do virtuals like this every 3 days or so, just to catch up with everybody in the trade market. What are you hearing? Where are we? And you do get that conversation sometimes where a person who really knows the club and is a voice that you listen to will say something like, listen, at best, we get in and we get beat in the first round. It's not worth mortgaging our future to get a guy for 8 starts and 1 postseason start. But George, it all comes down to this. What's your reason for making the trade? Is it just to get in? Is it that you haven't been in the postseason for a long time and you have to show your fans, hey, we're serious? Is it you want to get further than the first round? You've been knocked out a couple times. Or in some cases, and there's about 5 of them, you want to win the whole thing. And this guy is your 1 through 3 starter in a best of 5, best of 7 series.
Okay. Tell me your version of how the whole Scooble thing plays out. And let me preface this by an opinion that I think Detroit is about a year late and $1 short, and they've been backed into a corner. And my gut feeling is they're not going to get what they think they're going to get, but you tell me.
George, I agree with you. I think they should have made this move a year ago or in the offseason. He's got Scott Boras. Boras is known for not signing until the player gets into the free agent market, which, I find to be a very interesting strategy, and it's been very effective for a lot of his guys. But now he has the elbow issue. There were some questions. He's back on the field. Detroit made a big move for Valdez in the offseason, and they thought they were setting themselves up for a real good run. In fact, when I saw them in mid-April, I went to see how good they were going to be, and it was obvious they were going to be pretty good. But George, they wake up today, they're 6.5 out of the division, and they're 4.5 out of the wild card. They've got 2 clubs ahead of them to get to the White Sox. That's very ambitious. I watched all games of the Cubs series. They played really well, and they're going to be a good club. But I think they're on the outside looking in, and it's not going to be easy right now. The Red Sox really affected them a great deal. For me, George, they have to move them. And if they don't move them, they're going to get a draft pick, a first-round draft pick for next year. A relatively inexperienced general manager and a team that thought they were on the cusp of something really good. And it just shows you how quick their window is. But George, candidly, I think the guy is Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan would be my target if I could get a guy right now. I love him. He competes so well. George, Kelly, Lewis, I only traded the deadline for guys who have taken the ball in the postseason because the pressure is such that they've got to know what it feels like before they become a mercenary. Joe Ryan could be that guy. He's relatively inexpensive. He's got a mutual option for next year. He's a real good pitcher. And I think he's the guy you turn to get the deal done instead of overpaying for Skubal, who you don't know is going to stay healthy the rest of the way.
Do you believe in the end that the Dodgers will use Ohtani's knee issue to go get Skubal?
George, they have the best farm system in the game. It's verified across the board. They scout, develop, sign better than anyone else, and they develop after they acquire them. So they've got the resources to do it. But remember, Glasnow's down, and they also don't have Snell. And with Ohtani's knee, although he threw a pen yesterday, they have some question marks. George, no National League team has ever won 3 World Series in a row. That is their goal. They want to win the World Series. They're not looking to get in. They woke up today with an 11.5 game lead. They're trying to win the whole thing. So Skubal is set in their sights, and they can pay for Skubal unlike anybody else. So I'm sure they're all the way in, but I'm sure they're in on Peralta. I'm sure they're in on Ryan, and I'm sure they're in on other guys too.
Okay, so Kelly, I see you with your arms crossed, maybe a little disgusted with me. How many of yours did I steal?
No, you didn't steal. I was thinking along your lines, but I want to preface it with this, Danny.
Well,
I want to
hold
go back
on. Stop there because we'll go to the break first.
Okay. All right.
And then we'll bring you up.
All right. Sounds good.
How about that?
It's a dog leg right, Kelly. We got to pick the right club first.
That's no problem for George. He was aimed that way yesterday.
The problem is, Danny, when you know in that golf bag that you don't have a club that'll make it happen.
Oh, I really know that feeling.
It's a lot like your final exam in college, and it's make or break, and they hand you the test, and you're like, oh, crap. That's what it is.
Talks back to you, right?
Oh, God, does it ever. Okay, Kelly Holcomb, Lewis Maddox are both in the on-deck circle, ready and raring to go with the great Danny Evans on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
If you are struggling with back pain, neck pain, or stubborn nerve pain that hasn't responded to the usual medications or injections, listen closely. At the Dr. Gill Center, we help patients discover why they hurt and how to find relief without surgery. We are Middle Tennessee's leaders in back pain treatment and non-surgical spinal decompression, a gentle advanced technology designed to reduce pressure on the spine, restore space between discs, and help the body heal naturally. Our patients aren't just looking for another temporary fix. They want expertise. They want options they haven't been offered. They want a team that actually listens. And that's exactly what you'll find at the Dr. Gill Center. If you've been told there's nothing else to try or surgery is next, it's time for a different approach. Call 615-882-4838 or visit callmepainfree.com to schedule a comprehensive evaluation and see if non-surgical spinal decompression is right for you. Make 2026 the year you get out of pain. Call 615-882-4838 today.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women, because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Oh, yeah. That one goes all the way back to when I was in high school. That has nothing to do with anything.
Sheesh.
Freddie Mercury at his best.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Kelly Holcomb about to tee off with Danny Evans on the first tee. It'll be a more pleasant golf experience for Kelly than yesterday, which he has described to colleagues as the worst ever.
Well, Danny, you know it's bad, and this is all I've got to say about Georgia's golf game. When you're out driving somebody with a 9-iron, that's pretty bad.
A choke up 9-iron, right?
That's
yes,
not true.
You know, Kelly, I could just say something. I do enjoy scrambles for one reason, is everybody contributes at some point. Well, at least in most cases. And you walk away. Yeah, you walk away going, you know, I sucked, but hey, I made a lucky putt, or you know, the ball bounced off the tree really well, you know, one time. One guy I played with had to be like a 40 handicap once, and guys, he airmailed the ball right, bounced it down the cart path about 320, and we hadn't used one of his drives, and it was like a 340-yard hole. He's like 15 yards short, and one of our guys uttered one of the greatest golf lines ever. He said, "Robbie, just stay in the cart. you can't help us from this point forward. And we all laughed, and Robbie didn't even fight us. We used the extra putt to make the putt, and we got an eagle.
Now, in fairness, they used a tee shot of mine that got on the green, sort of a birdie putt. I mean, it was from here
it was a par 3, and George used a driver.
Well, the wind was right in his face.
I mean,
right?
it wasn't like one of those U.S. Opens where it was 290-yard par 3 up at Bethpage Black or somewhere. You know, it was at this place. It was at the Hermitage, and it was like 150 yards, and George used a driver.
Where was your tee shot?
I don't know. It wasn't close as yours. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
okay, it didn't suck, but it was yours was closer.
That was my golf contribution, and I told some really good stories.
You did tell some good stories.
That's
okay, so I got to go back to George's question, because I believe that your organization, and when you were a general manager, you had everybody being honest with you. But there's some organizations when they have a general manager, it's not like that. And I've been in situations where if you're going to say that to a guy that you know is not friendly about things, you better have some big gonads. So seems like it does not happen a lot, man, because I think you would have an open dialogue, but just talk to, because there's other organizations where guys are scared to say things. I've been in spots like that in coaching when I got into coaching, just like when I was playing ball with the Browns. Our coach would have a leadership council, and we would give him suggestions, but he never went through with it. So you got organizations like that, and I believe that that's why people are not successful. And I think that's the root cause, because they don't feel like they've been given any input to the organization.
Oh, Kelly, it's spot on. One of the best questions you've ever thrown out. And I will tell you is that when you're in a decision-making role, you're getting criticized. I mean, that's what you get. You're the starting quarterback. You're the safety, and you get burned. I mean, you're exposed. That's where it is. This time of the year is the biggest exposure, and it's twofold. 3, actually. Number one, the standings. It's July 23rd. This is where we are. Now, you can hope, you can decide whatever, but it's clear-cut. It's black and white. This is where we are today. Second, your minor league system. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you have people you can trade, or do you have no one you can deal? Third, have you just monopolized the payroll where it's not flexible enough to take somebody on? And Kelly, it exposes people, and some people don't like it. You're right. And some people not only don't like it, but they get offended if you call out the truth in the room. I was very lucky. I had a great first boss, and he said to me, you can't pretend at the deadline. In the room with your people, this is who you guys have concocted, and it's your work of art out there. So you get criticized, and it's valid. But Kelly, for me, that's what I lived for. I loved the fact that I was completely accountable because of the standings. There's no subjectivity. What I always tried to be, and I was talking to Kathy about this a few minutes ago. We were coming back from the gym, and she said, how much is accountability the problem? And you just nailed it, just like she did. Some people don't like to be accountable in the room or publicly that they haven't done a good job. Well, whether you like it or not, Kelly, the scoreboard doesn't lie. This is where you are. And when I came to the Dodgers, I heard some of that, and I knew why they hadn't been in for a while. And I said, guys, we have to get to the point where we're not on the outside looking in. And that's on us, nobody else. It's not the media. It's the players that we as a group assemble. And Kelly, leadership, to me, is not the loudest voice. It's the best listener and the one who's the most pragmatic. And I always tried to stay kind of low key right now because I didn't want to influence anybody's decision, but I also wanted them to be comfortable speaking freely and not worried about what I was going to say.
With the trade deadline coming up, I'm sure this was huge for you, and I'm sure it's like a puzzle. But like George had a pretty good list, and you named off some more guys. But was there ever a time when you were a general manager that you didn't go after the guys that everybody knew were going to be free agents or knew was going to be on the chopping block? Did you ever go to a guy that was kind of the team's, I don't know if he was an ace, but he was up there, and you just talked to another general manager and says, "Hey, would you be willing?"
Yes.
Did that ever happen?
Oh yeah, completely. Some deals get done a bunch of different ways, Kelly, and it's really fun. Is your relationships preceding the deadline really helps you at this time. You can be a little frustrated. I can call you up and go, maybe we worked together 10 years ago. And I'm just like, Kelly, I'm really frustrated. I've been trying to get Scooble and I can't get him. And it's just too much. Would you ever move so-and-so? Dan, I would. But see, there's no BS because we trust each other. And I'm like, oh, Kelly, what would you really want? This is what I want, and deals get done. But the more fun thing, Kelly, and I'm a little embarrassed, there's a couple deadlines that I made trades with like 20 seconds to go because I was a big whiteboard guy. I still am. I got them all right here. And I looked and I went, wait a second, he hasn't been moved. And our best pitching guy thought he'd be an ideal fit. So I got the guy on the phone, and it was like the Costner movie. And I just said, hey, it's deadline. Would you move him? It was Terry Mulholland, the left-handed pitcher. And he said, well, yeah, but it's too late to the deadline. I said, no, I do it for this guy or this guy. Would you do it? Yes, get it. My assistant looks at me. She calls it into the league office like 5 seconds before the deadline. And I said, wow, that was kind of cool. It was kind of fun. Kelly, it's a rush. But here's the thing. The moment you're done, that's your team the rest of the way. And when you go in the clubhouse, everybody on that team, and you were in that locker room, everybody in that team says, okay, you just told us either how much you think of us or how little you think of us. And the problem is you can't hide. You have to go in there. You got to show your face, and you'll either get the criticism or the compliments. But what you'll also get is the media watching them interact with you.
So the Red Sox just went on a nice little run.
15 in a row, I'd say so, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you had teams like that, just talk about the elation in the locker room, in the organization, in the front office. What do people think? How cool is that to be part of something like that? When you're out, everybody's thinking you're out of it, and now you've worked yourself back into it.
Yeah. So, Kelly, I can turn back to the 2015 season with Toronto. We were 8 games behind the Yankees in second place. It's July 30th. People are telling us we're out. 4 of us thought we were in. Alex Anthopoulos, George's favorite general manager, now the Braves GM, is my boss. And I was brought in to kind of be the little bit of an instigator, but also the experienced guy in the room. And I said, listen, I think we can do some special things here. Kelly, we made 7 deals in 10 days. And when I went in the clubhouse the day after the deadline, I knew the whole club, obviously, and they're all coming up to me saying, hey, we're gonna go deep into the postseason now. And I said, well, we're a better team now. And when you say things like that to each other, the accountability is strong, but they also, Kelly, know that you did everything you could to get them better players. Russell Martin's my buddy. I drafted him in LA, and he comes up to me and he fist pumps me and he said, better yet, they're all good character guys. And I said, great. And Kelly, we got in. We got within a game of the World Series. And you know what? It's because of that. And that rush that I felt in the clubhouse was something I'll never forget. And it made the previous 3 weeks of just insane travel. And Kelly, I was in 16 cities in 15 days. And I saw everybody we traded for. And you know what? We did it. So, yeah, there's a rush. But luckily, I've never felt what some people do, which is they don't do anything. And then they have to go run and hide for the next 2 months. I don't want any part of that. You're either in the boat or out.
So my last thing here is, and I've got 2 questions, but I'm gonna use one. I asked you early in the year, the Houston Astros started off really bad.
Yep, they sure did.
and you said don't count them out yet, and they're coming back a little bit, and they're not in a strong division, but you got the Alvarez guy who's having a heck of a year. Do you think they keep going and they get to the top of that division?
That division is going to be so fun to watch, Kelly. Nobody's going to pull away. It's Texas, it's Seattle, and and them. And when you look at the Astros, I got the standings right in front of me. They're 2 out of the division, and they're 3.5 out of the wild card. So the likelihood is they got to win the division to get in. And they don't really have a lot of assets to move, but they're in a division where you don't have to be exceptional to get in. But the team ahead of them in Seattle is going to be aggressive as can be because they felt last year they should have gone deeper. So that to me, and the reason I said that is the Astros have good pitching, but they also have really good experienced players. And, Kelly, on July 23rd, a veteran in the clubhouse is way different than the kid who's experiencing it for the first time. It's a marathon, and he's not going to sprint the next 2 months. He's going to be ready to go every day and give it everything he's got. And I think what you have is a good club, but I wrote down some other teams that are like them. See, I think the Cardinals are in a similar position. Are we in or are we not? I don't know. San Diego, in or out? Minnesota, in or out? And they're really tough because you can make an argument either way and really have a satisfactory answer. But I think their owner is so competitive. I think the Astros will do some little things, but I still think they're going to be a player, but I don't know that they get in. I just don't see it right now. It's a great question.
Hey, Danny. Yeah, I kind of want to talk about that Red Sox thing a little bit deeper. Obviously, this is insane because I thought they had no chance, and then obviously they're the talk of the town right now, and Fenway's rocking. But, I mean, given their circumstances, can you really dive into their front office and does the mindset when something like that happens change completely on a dime immediately? Or, are there people in that building that think that's just a 15-game stretch and we really don't want to trust these guys to make a deep run?
Their ownership has been real difficult to assess for the last 10 years. They've gone through 4 general managers in that period. They lead the team, and they're very volatile. And they're unpredictable, Lewis. It's a really good question because everybody in baseball is trying to figure them out right now. Are they that good? Well, obviously not. You're not going to win 15 in a row again. It's not going to happen. But does this put them in a spot where they're going to be a wild card team? If we played the playoffs today, they're the last wild card team. And you wouldn't have said that 10 days ago. They're a seller. Now Sonny Gray's off the market. Now, their bullpen is off the market and it was going to be moved. But their general manager has been very suspect in his decision-making in the last year or so. So now, after firing Alex Cora early in the year, he is under the gun. And the ownership is under the gun. Are we in or are we out? Only time will tell, but they have a really difficult pathway now because there's other really good clubs, Seattle, Minnesota, Houston, on the outside looking in. They're not going to go away easily. Cleveland's right there. So are the White Sox. So as a result, Lewis, the Red Sox are in a precarious spot where you can't get diluted by what happened the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you take us into the mind of a GM when it comes to trade deadline? Where does that rank in terms of stuff that y'all are, or they're responsible for currently? Is that something that is on your mind year round or a couple weeks before, or are you writing down names on whiteboards 365?
Hey, Lewis, good question. For me, my mind, and you guys know me a little bit, never stopped. I'm always that guy. So I didn't turn on the switch and off. But during the last month or so, this is what you get hired for. You get hired for your strategy, your mind, your communication skills, your ability to interact with your 29 peers, your staff, your minor leaguers. But Lewis, the thing nobody tells you is you also have to know your minor league system better than anybody. You've got to know, I can't move that guy. I can't move this guy. I got a bad feel about this. But you also know your big league team better than anybody else. And you have to remember that, yeah, just because I like this guy, will our manager utilize him the way he is best utilized? Aside from picking your staff and from the draft, Lewis, this is the moment that you earn your salary and you earn your title. But you're also completely exposed as an organization because other teams tell you if you're good or not by the way they act towards your prospects. If they don't like your guys, I mean, with the Dodgers, my first year, one of my friends just said to me, Danny, we can't make a deal. You don't have anybody in your system I would trade for. And I knew that, but I didn't know if everybody else knew that. And they knew it. As a result, I didn't make a deal at the deadline except for a minor tweak, and it was our past coming back to haunt us.
Danny, last thing for me. Can you talk about playoff expansion a little bit? How much has that changed the buyer-seller market? And if you were to put yourself in a building today, are you more willing to ship a player or prospect now than you were 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah. 30 years ago, Lewis, there was a wild card team added. And then there was a second added later. And then recently the third team. It's paralyzed some of the, I would say, poorer organizations because they're afraid to make a decision because they're afraid, as Kelly said earlier, of getting criticized. They don't want to be criticized for not being good and making a trade. So, Lewis, what it has done is it has kept more than half the clubs in the race on July 23rd. Now, just think about it. You've got a Dodger team that's up almost 12 games, but the two teams behind them are talking to teams in a wild card hunt. So what it has done is it's expanded the opportunities, but what it's really done is confused a lot of front offices and ownership groups, and they're fully exposed. They're bamboozled right now. They just don't know what to do. And I kind of chuckle because not only are they exposed, but everybody sees it in live time.
Interesting stuff. Okay, we're going to open the phones. Love getting Danny involved with callers. I'm looking for 4 red-blooded American baseball fans out there who want to talk to Danny. You got to move quick at 615-759-9949. Again, 615-759-9949. We'll get into more of that trade deadline stuff with your phone calls on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised, and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm, and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Clarksville, get ready. Because when the doors open at F&M Bank Arena, the noise rises.
At the Nashville Cats.
The walls shake. And the Cats take control. Fast plays. Big hits. Non-stop arena football. Get in the den. Get your season tickets now.
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of three who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We'll head to your phone calls in 1 minute. Late word out of Baltimore. The Ravens have waived former Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia. He was let go to make room on the 90-man roster for free agent center Ethan Posick, who passed his physical and signed a one-year deal today. Kelly, give me an interpretation. He doesn't get to training camp.
No, he does not, and that's kind of When you get cut this early, George, they didn't have to really make a decision on you, so that's kind of that's a tough situation there, Danny. I see Danny shaking his head, but when you get cut this early, you didn't really impress. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, and sometimes the impression, George, is in the clubhouse, is in the book. You just didn't grasp what they needed. You never know what happened, but if he has a good agent, he can land somewhere else.
Jeff in Murfreesboro is the first call for Danny. Jeff, go ahead.
I got two things. First of all, I know the Cubs are probably going to be a wild card because they're not going to catch the Brewers. But the Brewers, to me, Danny, are like Rick Barnes in Tennessee basketball. They'll screw it up some way in some way in life. They're going to mess it up. They won't win a World Series. Number two, I saw a little highlight from the Yankees and Pirates, and this business with the batters and stuff and all this. The Yankees guy, I loved it. Way to go, baby! Swirl that bat 3 times. Adjust your helmet or whatever you got to do, okay? And if that Pirates pitcher wants some of me after the game, come on and get some, okay? You don't have to be set. Come on, okay? Get some. Come on and do it. I'm tired of this. We got to give them a ball or whatever, 3 or 4 balls or whatever it may be. So way to go. The Pirates hadn't won anything in 35 years because their ownership don't want to win. All they care about is making money. I've got a couple of Paris fans I know, and they can't stand it. Their ownership's one of the worst in baseball. They don't want to win. They're terrible. So for that Pirate pitcher, if I'll take the Yankee guy, you want some of me, come on the Yankee clubhouse after the game and get some. See you, Zeb, Dan. Have a good day, babe.
I love it. That skirmish he's talking about, guys, is when the Yankee hitter just all year has been really a nuisance, not getting in the box and not establishing eye contact. The rules are pretty clear, and MLB worked on it, and some people, have been throwing at him a little bit, and it's the way you get even. But you also have to understand, if you're going to bat flip and do stuff and be theatrical on the mound, the other side of the ball gets to react too.
Tony in Nolensville, say hello to Danny Evans.
Hello, Danny. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I've got a Cubs question and then a general manager question. Number one, Jeff's right. I'm afraid we're not going to catch the Brewers. I was really hoping we'd catch the Brewers earlier in August before we are. We don't catch the Brewers until the end of August. So in between there, Danny, our next 4 series are against the Cardinals. Well, first with the Pirates, then the Cardinals, then the Yankees, and then the Dodgers. I just hope we're still in striking distance when we get to catch the Brewers at the end of August, and hopefully we'll still be in the wild card lead. With that being said, Danny, I hope they go after Hunter Green. You mentioned him. He pitched extremely well against the Cubs a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if that was a one-night thing, but I've really watched him a couple other times this year. He's pitched well. He's a solid, good pickup if they could get him. Want your take on that? But in letting a guy go, Danny, in the movie Moneyball, we all saw how it was done with the assistant general manager coming and talk to him. Is that the way it's really done, or does the general manager do it, or is it some of the baseball operations personnel? Who goes and tells that player he's done and he's moving on, and is the setup, he giving all the information to the team he's going to, is that done by the baseball operations personnel? Thank you for taking the call. Always good talking to you, and go Cubs, go.
Good stuff.
Thanks, Tony. The Cubbies are playing better now. They're playing a lot better. I've watched them a lot lately. I still think they're going to be a really difficult team in the postseason. But here's my take on that. And George, you'll probably hear this really clearly. With their schedule being as tough as it is the next few weeks, I would be extra aggressive now to get that starting pitcher now to keep you where you are and potentially make you a much better club for the next 3 months. When it comes to Moneyball, never watched the movie, didn't have a lot of respect for the way they were doing business there in Oakland. I will say that if you're the general manager of the team and you don't tell a player that he's been moved, he's released, you're copping out. I'm a big believer in that's what you have to do. You have to take care of the bad stuff and the difficult stuff, have other people in the room, but that's your responsibility. And if you don't, you're not the person you're telling everybody you are.
Let's go, Eric in Nashville. Eric, welcome in. Say hello to Danny.
Yeah, how you doing, Danny? It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Unfortunately, because of the issue with the phones, didn't get to talk to you last week. Couple of things, Danny, that I want to talk to you about concerning the Reds. One of the things is I was so glad that they signed Chase Burns. It's one of the few bright spots for the Reds, 12-1. I don't know if he'll be in contention for the Cy Young because they're playing so terrible, about 8 games under 500. The interesting thing is the other day when he pitched against the guy that used to be with the Reds at Castillo. And I remember when they made the trade, I was so bummed when they made the trade, but it turns out he hasn't been great for the Mariners. Just wanted to get your take on what the Reds, because I can't remember what they specifically got for him, just if you think they got the better of that deal when they made the trade of Castillo. And the other thing now, Danny, is it appears the Reds, and I'm pretty much sure they're done. I think they're sellers now because I don't think they're going to make the comeback. Who are some players other than Chase Burns and Ellie De La Cruz do you think that they might trade? Because I think they're in the kind of sellers business. Just want to get your thoughts on that. As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you, Danny. Take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Eric.
Danny, there's no way they trade Ellie De La Cruz.
No,
is there?
No, I wouldn't. I would never even bring his name up. For me, he's really displaying that he's coming on now, and he's got a manager who's an elite manager. I just think they just didn't get out to a good enough start to get themselves back into the race. I mean, they're 5.5 out of the wild card. They're done in the division. They're on the outside looking in. They got 4 teams ahead of them. It's going to be really hard for them to get back in. I think they've got to move who they can move, but anything, if I were with that club, Eric, I wouldn't touch De La Cruz. I think De La Cruz is one of the reasons you win in the next couple of years. Candidly, I thought the Reds and the Pirates were the 2 teams in the National League that we're going to have a good year. Looks like I got one of them right. But the Reds are perplexing to me. And I think when you've got a manager as capable as Francona, I think what you're going to see is one of the best GMs in the game is going to go out in the offseason and be really aggressive to try to give him a better set of players.
Last phone call is Mike in Melrose. Mike, what do you got for Danny?
Well, I haven't got the chance to speak to Danny since he went to the reunion for the White Sox of '83. That was my dad's first year with the Rangers, and so they can thank Doug Rader for kind of getting them fired up, because he saw all the White Sox were doing that year was winning ugly.
That's right.
Winning ugly. And I think the Rangers actually led at the break, but then they traded away Rick Honeycutt for Dave Stewart, and then Honeycutt actually didn't do much the rest of the year. But Doug Rader kind of got them fired up, saying they were winning ugly. And I don't know if y'all saw, but last week my dad mentioned this. The Blue Jays were having a reunion for their World Series teams, and Dwayne Ward unfortunately did not show up. That they found him dead in his hotel room.
Yeah, and he was there the night before, Mike. He was at the ballpark on Friday night, and then Saturday didn't show up, and he had already been deceased. He was in his hotel room, and no foul play. And he's a great guy. Gosh, I loved him. It was really sad to see. And I think what we're learning, we competed against that team in the LCS that year. They were great. I mean, they were a back-to-back World Series champion. We knew we had a really good club, but Dwayne Ward's one of the reasons they were great, because the 8th and the 9th inning, if you didn't have the lead, you were dead. You were not going to beat that Blue Jay team. Regarding the Rangers, July 18th was the year we went into first place. We were in Cleveland. We won a ball game. We jumped into first place, and we won the division by 20 games. George,
wow.
55-12 streak during one period. And I look back at that club, and it took a long time for us to get going. But once we did, LaRussa and I were talking about it a couple weeks ago. He said, all I had to do is just get the heck out of the way. And it was a great experience. George, if I could, the chat room has been great. And one of your listeners was talking about an analytics award in honor of the great Alan Roth, who is one of the great sabermeticians. He was hired by the O'Malley family, 60, 70 years ago in Brooklyn. And there is actually an award, but Saber actually recognizes Alan Roth as one of the great Saber members of all time. So great question. And the chat room has been great today.
It has been.
They've been popping.
Okay, Danny, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Red Sox, the streak is over.
Yeah.
If they were to lose 3 in a row at home to Toronto this weekend,
yeah,
what happens then? I need
George,
about a 45-second answer.
Okay, so this is great. My trainer and I were talking about this 2 hours ago. A couple of the players, Gray and Contreras, talked to the clubhouse after last night's game and said, hey, we have to collect our thoughts and we got to get back on a winning streak. We put ourselves in a spot where we don't have another option. So I think, George, what you have here is a natural letdown. But, George, here's where the leadership of your team with a rookie manager and a relatively inexperienced general manager, this is when they're going to be tested this next week. They could easily, a week from now, be a seller and not a buyer.
That's what I'm rooting for. Sonny Gray. Danny, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, George. And thanks to everyone for participating. And I still think Lewis is doing a very smooth Paul Skeens impersonation on the air. We got to keep an eye on this.
Okay, we'll do it.
Danny, I appreciate it, man.
See you, Danny.
See you guys. Have a good one.
See you, brother.
Okay, great first hour. Hour number 2 will be spicy. Lane Kiffin at the SEC football meetings, and then Matt Moscona, who is as wired to LSU as it gets, on the George Plaster Show.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
It's Family Leisure's huge summer clearance sale.
So what does that mean?
It means all our summer items have to go. Everything in stock is on sale at Family Leisure. Pools, spas, and outdoor furniture are all on sale.
So what, for example?
A $3,000 pool is now only $19.99 installed. Or a huge 24 by 52-inch pool is only $34.99 installed with an upgraded filter package.
Wow, that is great. What about the spas?
Right now, take $1,500 off a $5,000 spa at only $34.99 at Family Leisure. Save even more on scratch and dents and floor models.
So the patio furniture is on sale too?
All the Family Leisure summer furniture must go, up to 50% off or more. Hundreds of sets on sale. A 4-piece deep seating group starts at only $9.99, and a 5-piece dining group is only $7.99.
That means the grills and grill islands are on sale as well.
Family Leisure summer clearance sale at both huge locations,
Franklin and Antioch.
The weather is getting warmer and the action is heating up at the Circa Sportsbook at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs. Feel the rush of every play in the largest sportsbook in Kentucky. From basketball, baseball, soccer, and more, catch it all on an 80-foot screen, stadium-style seating. Download the Circa Sports Kentucky mobile app today and start betting like a pro anywhere in Kentucky. Don't miss a game at the largest sportsbook in Kentucky, Circa Sports at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Looking for bold flavor and big-time vibes in Music City? Head to Social Cantina Nashville, right in the heart of historic Germantown. From crave-worthy tacos and fresh Mexican fare to legendary margaritas, it's the perfect stop before the show, after the game, or anytime you're feeling festive.
With daily specials, weekday happy hour, and a lively atmosphere, every visit brings the party. Social Cantina Nashville. Loud, social, flavorful, and unforgettable.
A new tradition begins for Nashville. It's the Liberty Mutual Music City kickoff game. This year on Sunday evening, September 6th, the Louisville Cardinals will take on the Ole Miss Rebels at Nissan Stadium. Get your tickets today for this premier showdown between two of the top teams from the Southeastern Conference and the ACC. Most preseason polls have both Louisville and Ole Miss ranked near the top of their conferences, so this will be an exciting matchup. Reserve your seats today. Go to NashvilleSports.com/Music City Kickoff. That's NashvilleSports.com/Music City Kickoff.
In case you missed, Next Man Up.
I'm 85-90% confident Cardell Tate is going to be a star.
Which is funny, right? Because I think if I look at the list of the guys in here, he's probably the one I feel the most confident about, and we haven't seen him play a single snap in the NFL.
Yeah, but just the way his game transfers to the league, I'm very confident he's going to be a star.
He is listed as one of two blue chips, and Cam Ward is the other one, which I think I understand he's the number one overall pick, second-year quarterback. He kind of has to be a blue chip for this team moving forward. But I think you're right. When I look through this list and you talk about the young talent on this team, like Latham and Ward, I think are two guys who are heading into just crucial seasons to prove that they can be the guy and live up to where they were drafted.
Next Man Up with Jake Lyman. Weekday mornings at 9. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Hour number 2 of the George Plaster Show is always kicking things off with the Apple Collision Center's stat of the day. George Plaster, Kelly Holcomb, I'm Lewis Maddox. Guys, you ready for this one?
I guess.
This is the first one of the week that I don't know.
Whatever, Lewis.
Whatever to you.
Save it.
Who has the best batting average in the MLB right now?
Oh, man, in the old days, I would rattle this off. You know, this is
George,
go ahead, Kelly.
I'm going to say the guy for the Astros because
That's
he's going after the
what
Triple
I'm gonna
Crown,
say.
is he not? Yeah.
And
Yordan
right
Alvarez.
now, winning it by a mile. Let's go Yordan Alvarez.
Otto Lopez at 332. He's second. Alvarez is second at 328. So y'all are right there.
Really?
Wow.
Luis Araya is at 320 in third.
Otto Lopez. Very bitter.
He's from parts unknown. Who is he?
He is a 332 batting average is who
I
he
know,
is.
George. I see
I know
that.
who he is either.
I can't tell you a lot about old Otto, but here's what I can do. I can officially welcome all of you into the 4 o'clock hour from our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. Today was the final day of SEC football media stuff in Tampa, Florida. And last but not least was LSU. Think about what's going on in what used to be the old SEC West. You got Lane Kiffin, about a $50 million payroll, if what people are saying is accurate. Then you got Kalen DeBoer making $12.5 million a year, got a buyout of half the gross national product, and you're like, do either one of them win it all? Just a thought. Now, here's Lane Kiffin spouting out LSU Bengal Tigers.
Been great. The other question I get is the 9-game schedule. And like I said, I don't always agree with the commissioner, but he has hard decisions to make, and we understand that. My concern was about the 9 games is that you're going to lose non-conference games. Teams will eventually get out of the bigger non-conference games because the selection process is not fixed. Until that is fixed, to really, truly reward strength of schedule, I was against it because I think what you're going to have is more conference losses, and you don't prove anything. If I keep playing, we're all in the same conference, we keep playing each other, we don't really prove that we're better than anyone else, and we're taking away out of conference games. So I just think that it's going to cause issues that we've already seen until we can get to a world where people can actually look at teams and say that team that is 9-3 with their schedule is a better team than that 11-1 in a different conference, which now I think we aren't even close to doing that. I think it causes a problem because we don't have enough non-conference in our sport. I look at other sports like baseball. Oklahoma just wins a national championship in baseball. Well, I think they're 14-16 in SEC play. Think about that. In football, would be nowhere near the playoffs. An 11th in regular season, and then win the national championship. But they also have non-conference games to show how good they are. And so I just think that the system wasn't ready for that change yet until they changed the selection part. Last part, I just want to say thank you to the media. Everybody talks, these coaches get up here and I see the things, on TV, watch their day. They talk about their summer and everything they did and all those things. And you guys giving up your time here in your summer to be here to cover us. And specifically to the SEC media, it's part of what makes the SEC so special because the intensity of the media and the coverage and the passion that everyone talks about the fans have. Well, the media has it too. So I appreciate you guys. And with that, open to questions.
All right. If you have a question, we have Lauren, Peyton, and Lane who have microphones. Come up here, and we'll start right here in front of me, Coach, second row, Kirk, right in the middle.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Lane asked you a few years ago what your NIL budget was at Ole Miss, and you didn't say, but you said, God, I'd like to tell you. I was going to give you a second chance today, ask you what your NIL budget at LSU is. And do you think we're ever going to see the day where every team's payroll and every player's salary is published?
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to see that day. I think that, again, this is a really hard thing to get to. But if to do it right, just like the scheduling would need to be fixed and would be to have a real salary cap. And I know what looked like it was going to be implemented, coming with the revenue sharing, that's not, I think I've always been the coach up here to just tell you how it is, that's not being followed because it's not a real cap. It's not a hard cap. So that'd be like in the NFL, like, hey, we have this cap, but it's not a hard cap and you can go above it. So, It's just really a poor system. And like you said, things aren't public. The contracts aren't public. So different than the NFL, where the NFL, everybody has the contracts of all the players and the other teams and everything. And then you have long-term contracts. I think one of the things too is I talk about this system of, I believe you build a system based off of where you are. We talked about you build your offensive system off your players. You build your system of how many portal players, high school players. In my opinion, it's not, hey, here's the cookie cutter formula wherever you are. You go to LSU, you do it different than you did at Ole Miss. And so as you build it, though, you can't say, in my opinion, some people will say, okay, the traditional power should just build through high school. Well, you study the NFL and they say, okay, well, yes, the best teams over time, you will sustain the longest by building through the draft and supplement through free agency, because that's where the long-term contracts are at the lower prices than the free agency. But our system doesn't have that. Now, if you could fix it where the high school kids, my opinion, they should be lower. Just like I was in the NFL when we drafted Jamarcus Russell before they moved down the rookie salary cap. And then they made the slots for the draft because the veterans, the rookies were getting paid more than the 10-year vets. Well, they got that fixed. That in our system's a little bit screwed up, in my opinion. The kids that haven't played at all coming out of high school should be making less, and that there should be a freshman, like a rookie cap of how they are, and then the max slots per position that they make. And then they're signed to multi-year contracts. So now you really do get into, okay, you build through high school because that guy can stay longer. I think if you built through high school now, if that's all you did, I think a couple schools have done that and it's not working out well because you don't have the kid. They can leave after year one when they don't play as much as they like, or they want more money, or they do play and then they want more money. So that's why we built so much through the portal and will continue to build a lot through the portal because of the way the system is. Even though we can sign great elite top 100 high school players like we just did, like what's committing to us, we're still going to build a lot through the portal until they balance out the system and they balance out how contracts work.
Coach, we'll go over here to our left-hand side, third row.
Hey, Coach, Michael Bratton from That SEC Podcast. When you were at Ole Miss, you led them to the third most wins in the conference since 22. You had 10 players drafted or signed as free agents in the 25 draft, 8 players drafted or signed as free agents in the 26 class. You had a top 4 portal class each of the last 3 portal cycles you were there. Jackson Dart, first-round pick. Yet in a Vanity Fair article, you said Oxford diversity hurt you in talent acquisition. So is it your belief that if there was a little bit more diversity, all those numbers I cited could have been even better?
I had a feeling that was going somewhere. You were doing like really positive stuff the whole way through. I'm like, man, this guy's good. It sounds like you should go work for Jimmy Sexton, man. You're like going a good direction there. I made a challenging decision and change. And I think as I look back to that, I thought I could find a way for everybody to understand. And now as I look back later on, that was never going to happen. And I made a decision that I changed jobs. And as I get older and I go through things and losing both parents, I was actually talking to Ross Dellinger and I kind of said something that might sound kind of funny to you, but I watched the Hulk Hogan special and I realized that I was like, we're all going to die. And so some of the things that we put importance on, we worry about and what this person says and that, like really aren't going to matter. And when I lost my dad, I started thinking that. And I really started thinking, when I grew up, there were 2 people that I thought just wouldn't die. My dad and Hulk Hogan. And then I watched that special and really like Hulk Hogan died too. Like there's no way Hulk Hogan was ever going to not wrestle and die. And he did. And so it just made me reflect really on like, I can't be so concerned about little things and what people say and this, and you got to make decisions, you got to go with them. And you do things and you make really good decisions and you make poor decisions. And that was a poor usage of a term that I believe, just like many coaches that have been there for, was factual, but over the course of a long interview was bad timing and bad usage of the word. So it is what it is. I apologize when I said it, and moving on.
Got time for two more. We'll start here in the center aisle.
Hey, Coach. Daryl Dapprich, Locked on Auburn. After a 2-year hiatus, Auburn and LSU play again this year. Talk about what that game means to you. There seems to be a nice little rivalry with Auburn and some of the things in the past. And how is Malik Blockton progressing for you?
Yeah, Malik's doing great, really working hard. Made a lot of plays in spring ball. I think Auburn's a great program. I think they got new energy with the coaching staff and a really good offensive system coming in and keeping DJ Durkin on defense. I think that, they're going to be a really improved program, and that's a really hard place to play always, and really gives people a lot of problems, kind of a magical stadium that magical things happen in. So that's one of many extremely competitive games we have, including really for the first time that you have 5 road conference games.
Which will go one final question over here on our right-hand side, over to the right.
Hey, Coach, this way, other way.
Yep.
I'm Eddie Pels from AP. I think at some point after your social media cleanse, Congress introduced a bill that has a thing in it called the Lane Kiffin rule. It's about coach movement. I think with that and with a lot of the things that have been said about your move, I'm just wondering, do you think you get a bad rap about, they look at you sometimes and say that's the problem with everything? Do you think you get a bad rap?
Well, the good thing is I don't know if I do, because I don't read anything. So it really is a different way of not seeing, like you just said that, and I didn't know that until you said it. And I guess in that, I hope that some way for future coaches, they're not put in that situation. The NFL, you're never put in that situation because of the calendar and because of the rules of movement within season. So I do hope for future people that's fixed so that you're not in that same predicament for players, for coaches, which really was a player issue too. And then we fixed that with moving the portal date back. That was more of an issue earlier in the postseason too, as you saw players having to leave teams to get into the portal during the season. So hopefully some way they fix it for coaches too.
So that was Lane Kiffin earlier today. Kelly, that was one time that I kind of liked some of what he said.
Yeah, I like when he said the system is messed up, which the system is messed up, It was amazing, though, that I read something today that said the guy started out with 2,807 words in his all-time leading. He didn't answer any questions to begin with, all-time leading opening speech.
It was 17 minutes, and that is why I listened to the whole thing. That's why we didn't run it.
2,807 words, which is wild.
Old Lane
rambled
a little bit. It's for sure.
He did ramble, man. He was rambling, and I got caught and listened to his rambling some. But he's got some innovative things to say. I'm just interested to see what Matt says about all this and the pressure that he's under, because he's put a lot of that pressure on himself, and the way that he left Ole Miss, nobody liked that. Nobody except the LSU fans. I mean, everybody else is like, I can't believe that guy did that. So there's a lot of pressure on him, whether he wants to say it or not. But back in subconscious mind, he knows that there's pressure on him, and he's got to win. He's got a new quarterback that he's having to groom, and the Sam Levitt kid. So, he's kind of been Mr. Everything that everybody wants to listen to. He does have some wild things, but he does say some pretty cool things sometimes. And I like what he said about, hey, we've got to do something about the system. The system's got to get fixed at some point.
So what has it been like in Baton Rouge since Lane Kiffin arrived? Matt Moscona will tell you in an interview we taped a couple of days ago on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me,
keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Bowling night.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
What happened?
What are you doing?
Well, I thought we were about to run Matt Moscona.
Oh, I thought you were going to intro it.
You told me it was introed.
Oh, well, excuse me.
This is some great radio. This would be one of those outtakes. I was just sort of, hey, how we doing?
Well, you
it's
can
a
throw
C
it
note, George.
Well, maybe. Here's Matt Mascona. When you want information from LSU, there is nobody better than Matt Moscona, who joins us live from Baton Rouge. This is certainly not the first time we've had him on. Matt, how you doing?
Hey, George, doing great. Usually I get to see you at SEC Media Days. Did that in Nashville a couple of years ago, but I don't know, man. They're venturing us down to Tampa next week, so I guess we'll figure that out.
Yeah, how about that? So you have always been great at knowing the pulse of what's going on at LSU. So now we've got Lane Kiffin. You tell me, how pumped is the fan base?
Oh, it's the energy's palpable. It's all the cliches, but you can understand. I mean, Lane is when you go through what LSU did a year ago with the massive disappointment of all the expectations of the number one portal class, Garrett Nussmeier returning for a senior year, and then having it go the way it did, 7-6 season, Brian Kelly being fired, that's a bottoming out emotionally. And the only thing that really fixes that is the excitement of a new coach. And most fan bases do get energized by a new coach hire. Well, when you get the guy that everybody wanted, and not only that, but you stole him from a division rival, or a conference rival, former division rival, And it happens to be Lane Kiffin, who's a big brand name, and all the attention and notoriety he's brought, some positive, some negative. Yes, the fan base is very excited. And I will tell you, September 5th, when Clemson comes to Tiger Stadium, it will be peak full throat Death Valley. That is going to be a whole scene for that opener. People are fired up.
Matt, having done games before years ago, I've always said that when all the SEC stadiums are at their best, there is nothing better than Tiger Stadium at night. What's this done for season tickets in that massive building?
Well, George, the good thing is that season tickets have never been a problem, right? I mean, they sell out. I think they sell out season tickets around 70,000, which leaves some for the visiting fans and some for week of game sales to the general public. So I don't know that we've necessarily noticed a difference there. Now, if you want to switch sports, Will Wade in college basketball, like that caused a huge bump in season ticket sales. But I think, George, maybe the more interesting thing, the way you started that is right. Look, Tiger Stadium has a great and earned reputation. But it faces a lot of the same problems every other venue does. It's 102,000 seats. You get a bad opponent, a bad kickoff time. Traffic stinks, long lines, all that stuff. Sometimes people don't go or they leave early, and that happens like it does everywhere else. But when you get all the right ingredients, when you get the big opponent playing for something meaningful, kickoff time, at its best, Tiger Stadium is still the best big game venue anywhere that I would put up against any venue in any sport. And that Clemson game, that opener, is going to feel like full throat Tiger Stadium.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. What's this done for donors pumping money into the Lane Kiffin NIL fund?
Well, I think we've all seen the reports this offseason, and they're accurate, if not a little undersold. George, nobody has told Lane Kiffin no. I mean, look, he got a big contract himself, $91 million. But on top of that, look, he wanted Charlie Weiss to follow him from Ole Miss. Charlie flirted with going back to Ole Miss, and LSU increased his salary from $2 to $2.5 a year. Blake Baker flirted with being the head coach at Tulane, his alma mater, and LSU bumped his salary to $3 million a year. He wanted Ed Ogeron, got him. He wanted T. Martin, got him. I mean, when you look at the full staff, it's almost a 1-to-1. If you look at the full LSU staff, there's like 76 staff members on this football staff. It's insane. That's on field and off field. And then as far as the roster, look, George, I think the plan was to go in this year and spend about $25 million on this roster. And once they got rolling, and then they were in it for Sam Levitt, and they were in it for Jordan Seaton, and they had a chance to get Prince Willuman Mielen. They just kept going to the well, and nobody was going to tell Lane Kiffin no. And so they've spent more than $40 million. I would say, George, it's probably closer to $50 million on this roster. And that's great, but with that comes great expectations as well. So you want to bring it full circle to where you started about how excited the fans are? Yeah, people are excited until they lose the first game. And then it's going to be arms folded. Hey, what are we paying for? So it's going to be a fascinating social experiment this year, considering the financial investment LSU has in every part of this football program right now.
Kind of update us. We know that LSU is going to play at Ole Miss in the third game of the season, September 19th, and it's going to be absolutely nuts. But legally, what is going on between these two schools right now?
Well, the news this week about Ole Miss Athletic Director Keith Carter pursuing buyouts of two players, Prince Willuman Mielen and Devin Harper, I don't necessarily blame him. I mean, look, I have a job. I have contracts with employers and entities, and I'm beholden to those contracts. And so if these players sign revenue share contracts with the school, they should be beholden to the terms of those deals. And there's buyouts included. The thing that I personally didn't like, and I think that probably rubbed a lot of people wrong, was not Keith Carter pursuing the buyouts. It was doing so in such a public manner, calling out the players. And you can understand, George, I highly doubt that Prince William Monmiel and Devin Harper are the only two players that left Ole Miss with a buyout this year that maybe they're struggling to collect. Or just look across the landscape of college football, and you just don't hear those stories. It's not to say that schools aren't collecting buyouts. I think what's happened is Ole Miss and LSU are trying every opportunity they can to embarrass one another and each other publicly in every opportunity they can. I mean, maybe Lane Kiffin's comments in the Vanity Fair article stoked that flame further from the Ole Miss side, which now they're looking for opportunities to tear down or embarrass Lane Kiffin and LSU. It's the Hatfield and the McCoys, man. It's an ugly thing. You ask legally. I mean, I don't know that there's much legal involvement here, except for the fact that Ole Miss is going to try to collect that buyout money, which they should. But boy, the animus is really at an all-time high for a rivalry that's had it for more than 60 years.
Are Golding and Kiffin going at it?
No, maybe see, those two they're friends and they're friendly. But I think both have to look at their own self-interests. Lane hired Pete Golding away from Alabama and brought him to Ole Miss and made him the defensive coordinator and gave him a great opportunity. Now Lane is a strange bird, and I think you listen to some of the quotes that Pete has said this year, and he even alludes to that. Lane is known to text incessantly, and he voice memos people on text message a lot, and so there's some of that stuff, and I think people just sort of maybe ignore him or choose when they reply. And maybe there's some of that with he and Pete, but I think they are, on a personal level, I think they're fine. But I think they both have very real self-interest with their football programs that are not aligned and that pits them against one another. But I don't know how dissimilar that is from Kirby Smart going to Georgia and forming a rivalry with Nick Saban in Alabama, where he was. I think there's some similarities, there, where personally you can get along, but you understand professionally for 3 hours on a Saturday or 4 hours on a Saturday, and in all the recruiting wars, you're going to do battle. And I think these two are probably stoking those flames a good bit this offseason.
Lewis, it's your time, and nobody knows LSU better than this guy.
Well, I'm happy to be talking to him about him. Yeah, Matt, just a few for me to wrap this thing up. But obviously people are going to be excited about everything that's happened this offseason, and especially Lane. Are there some people that aren't, given his track record? I mean, is there some pushback against this at all?
Do you mean in Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
No. But again, this is true in almost any circumstance. When you hire a new, and I've done this a long time. When you hire a new coach, hope springs eternal. The new coach is undefeated. Very few things inject life and energy into a program in any sport like a new coaching hire. And Lane was the apple of everyone's eye. And the fact that they were able to pull him away from Ole Miss on the brink of the playoff is viewed unanimously here as a major coup, and they got the offensive genius, and LSU's offenses will, as long as Lane is here, will be good. That's the thought, and should be, given his track record. But no, you don't have anybody in opposition. But what I will say, guys, is let this season on the field not go the way that many think it will, given the investment. And then you'll start to hear the hot yoga, all the off the field stuff that everybody talks about with Lane, right? The Twitter, the Instagram, you'll start to hear all that. The same thing with Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly was the toast of the town when they beat Clemson last year. They were number 3 in the country, and they had a roster built to go on a playoff run. And then all of a sudden they lose 3 games, and it's, well, Brian Kelly is checked out. He's old. He plays too much golf. It's all going to be based on what happens with the results on the field. But right now, brother, it is about as unanimous as you can imagine as far as support for Lane Kiffin.
Love it. Can you talk to us about this season's roster a little bit? Obviously, people in our area aren't going to know a whole lot about the going farther into it, what Lane's done already. Obviously, you got Sam Levitt, the other 2 guys that you mentioned just a minute ago. But I mean, where is this team quietly upgraded the most in this offseason period?
Yeah, they got 3 of the top 5 guys overall in the portal with Levitt, Jordan Seaton, and Prince Willimon Mielen. So you got a quarterback, a left tackle, and an edge rusher. And then they also got Ty Benefield at safety, who's a name, I'll tell you this, Lewis, this is a name that most SEC fans will not know. And candidly, before he transferred to LSU, I didn't know. But Ty Benefield's one of those guys who is, in this era, he is the perfect match for the portal NIL era because he was a 3-star, lowly regarded, goes to Boise State, becomes a 6'3", 220-pound wrecking ball, all-conference safety that now is, in a lot of projections, a first-round pick. And I mean, by the way, ESPN did this ranking of the top defensive players in college football. They had him 6th, not the 6th best safety, the 6th best defensive player in college football.
Wow.
So Ty Benefield is a name that people need to know. But if I'm going to sit here and talk to you about all the names you need to know, guys, like we would take the whole show. You're going to need a roster to watch LSU football because they turned over more than 60 guys on the roster. They added 42 via the portal. So, I mean, you have some guys back that you'll recognize. Whit Weeks is back for his senior year. DJ Pickett's 5-star corner who's returning. Harlan Berry was a 5-star running back who's back for his sophomore year. There's some guys that are returning that, SEC fans will recognize. But by and large, this is a completely made-over team in the image of how Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss and Blake Baker want to build a team and a roster. So I think LSU fans are going to need to have the roster in hand when they go to the opener against Clemson because there will be a lot of names and numbers that they don't recognize.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, last thing for me, and this is kind of a fun one to go into your mind on this, but I mean, where do you think he's going to be the most unwelcome? You go to Ole Miss in week 3, you go to Tennessee farther towards the end of the season. Where do you think Lane's the most unwelcome?
Knoxville is going to feel like Nirvana compared to Oxford. I mean, those people. Listen, the most animus I have ever seen at a football game, ever, and I've been to a lot of them over a lot of years, as a fan, as a media member, at all levels. In 2008, when Nick Saban came back to Baton Rouge for the first time, it was just anger. It was vitriol. Nick didn't leave LSU for Bama. Nick left to go to the Dolphins and then 2 years later came back into the league. This is, hey man, like 8 months after he left during a playoff run, the greatest season they've ever had at Ole Miss. He leaves for the team they hate the most. And now he's got to go back there? No, man. That is going to be, I'll tell you guys, like I've really waffled as to whether or not I even want to go. Seriously, because I think people in Oxford's a beautiful town. I don't know if you've ever been. Beautiful town, wonderful people. Great university, all the stuff. But every fan base has their element, right? And this might be the situation where that element takes it to a level like of, you don't want to say it, but like the idiot from Alabama who poisoned the trees, right? Like you hope it doesn't come to something like that, and it can be tenacious and all those things, but hopefully not dangerous. But Lewis, you brought up Tennessee. I mean, look, they were throwing golf balls and ketchup bottles and stuff at Lane Kiffin, and it's on one hand it's funny, on the other hand, you hit a man in the head with a golf ball from the top of a stadium, like it's dangerous. So my hope is that it doesn't rise to that level, that it's a great environment, that people are excited, and we have a great football game on September the 19th. But yeah, man, Lane Kiffin, that's hard. It's really hard to find words to describe what I think that's going to be like.
You might wear some neutral colors in Oxford if you travel to that game.
I mean, look, and I'm the guy who, like, I broke all those stories. Like, I was somewhat, so all that to say, like, I was very out front with that Lane Kiffin story. And so a lot of Ole Miss fans found my show and my content during that time and still watch and listen. So, brother, it'd be hard for me to be anonymous among Ole Miss fans. Yeah. Hat, glasses, maybe shave the beard, so go in a little disguise. We'll see.
I love it.
Matt, you are the best. Thank you for doing this.
It's my pleasure, guys. Anytime.
Okay, let's talk a little bit of Lane Kiffin and LSU. First of all, in the portal, they'll get Sam Levitt, who had been in a college football playoff game a couple of years ago. Remember Cam Scattaboo and Arizona State. Kelly, is he a national championship quarterback?
I think he's got the tools. I don't know. You don't. I don't know. I've never been around him. I've never really paid attention to that, George. You don't know what how smart he is, how savvy he is with stuff. I know he's kind of one of these new age guys that he can run. He can throw from the pocket. He's got some escapability. He can move around, and he can prolong plays. So that's what Lane Kiffin likes. That's what he's gotten. Jackson Dart was a prime example. Who I don't know if he's not as thick as Sam as Jackson Dart is, but he's not scared to do things like that. Obviously, with Trinidad Chambliss last year, he likes to run the quarterback some. So I don't know if he is or not, George. You just have to see, and you have to see how the guy plays in some pressure cook situations, because that's what the SEC is. It's some pressure cookers out there. So he'll get some experience with that. That's kind of a hard question, because you really don't know until you're thrust in that position. And I think the kid's got some ability, but is he a national championship quarterback? I think for me, I got to see it to believe it.
I'll tell you this. I think that obviously when he was at Arizona State, Cam Scattaboo elevated that team a lot more than he did, but he had his part in that as well and was a very good quarterback there.
Yeah.
And then I'll also tell you this. Before he went to LSU, the battle was between LSU and Tennessee to go out and get him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
Tennessee very well thought that he was going to be a national championship level quarterback, and obviously Lane Kiffin does as well. So if you're asking me, I think the dude's does have the tools to do it.
Okay, I want you all to think about this. Lane Kiffin, he's got himself a $90 million plus deal at LSU. Good for him. He's got apparently a $50 million payroll in NIL at LSU. So everything is set up for ultimate success. If 2 years from now he has not made the college playoff or he hasn't won a playoff game, then what? Because no group will turn on their own and eat their own quicker than LSU people.
LSU fans, that's right. I'm going to give you this, George. He gone. I mean, it's this new age of college sports puts a lot of pressure on coaches, man. I'm not saying there hasn't been pressure on coaches before, but it's even more now when you're giving everything that you need, and when you got boosters and you got organizations that are giving you money to pay these kids. They want to see results. That's where I'm not sure all this goes, man. It's unlike the NFL. The NFL is an organization by itself, but now, you don't have. It's totally different. And I'm just wondering, I've asked this question to so many people, George, about all these boosters that are giving money. When is that going to run out? But you tell me that if you give a school $2 million and they tell you where that's going to be dispersed, or you tell them where you want that money to go, and then that kid's not playing or doesn't play well, and you're seeing no return on your investment in that, that's a tough deal, man. There's a lot of sleepless nights by these coaches, and I'm not saying that it hadn't always been there, but it's turned up to a heat level that is unlike anything that we've ever seen. And I think that the heat is at LSU, and they're expecting Lane Kiffin. The expectations down there is for, hey, we're going to give you everything we need. We've got one of the – I don't know if y'all have seen pictures of their locker room, but it's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. And I'm sure a lot of those SEC schools are like that now, Alabama and Tennessee, but like LSU – is passionate about football. They're passionate about sports, but they're really passionate about football. And he was brought there to win a national championship. And if he's floundering around and doesn't have a good year this year and doesn't have a good year, yeah, he's out of there. That's just the way they are.
Hey, it won't be the exact same situation as what we've been experiencing over the past year, but it'll be very similar. He won't be there.
No.
Whether it's on his accord or LSU's accord, he won't be there.
Well, on the other hand, there are a lot of good things that can happen. But let's face it, with LSU, if Levitt gets hurt, they got problems. I mean, that's just boil it down to the low gravy. Sam Levitt gets hurt. They didn't feel good enough about what they had on their roster to not go get him. So number one on the checklist is you better keep Levitt healthy, and if he gets hurt, it better be for the old UL Monroe game.
George, it's the same thing in the National Football League. Backups are yeah, I mean, kids are going everywhere now, and it's hard to get. That's one thing Nick Saban talked about. He would always, when he was having his years before the NIL and transfer stuff, he was able to create depth at that school. Now, he said it last year, the year before, that you're unable to create depth with this transfer portal and all the money that's coming into college sports. So it's just so tough, George. And when the NFL has trickled down into college with you have to have a great quarterback now, and if you lose that quarterback, your season probably tanks after that. It truly does. And I think you're right, because they went out and got Sam Levitt, so obviously he didn't feel comfortable about what he had. And that's why I'm not sure about Tennessee right now. I know Lewis just got DGG, but I don't think they're comfortable yet with what they got at quarterback. I think they think they've got a true freshman that could be pretty good, but they really don't know yet. But like, that's what a lot of these schools are coming into. Well, they're having to look at themselves in the mirror and said, hey, if our quarterback goes down, man, what do we do? What is our backup plan? And I don't think many of them have that.
I will say this. Primary backup for Lane Kiffin, he got a transfer this year from USC. That was a redshirt freshman last year, Hassan Longstreet. He was a dual threat 5-star. So he's going to be a redshirt freshman. So I guess that's the contingency plan. But I've never heard of that guy.
And if that does happen, then we talk about, kicking the can down the road a little bit for a coach. If he has to play that young man, then he can use as a built-in excuse saying, hey, we had to bring this young guy in we brought Sam Levitt in who's had some experience, who's gone to the college football playoffs. That's who we wanted. He got hurt. We had to bring this guy in. You got to give me a little bit more time to develop him.
Okay, after the break, we're going to talk some news that broke about 30, 45 minutes ago. Diego Pavia waived today by the Baltimore Ravens before training camp ever started. What does that mean? What's next for him? And is it in this country? Can you say CFL, which is what I've always thought? This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
With back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone? At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838. Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hardest track in town, Nashville sounds baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Clarksville, get ready. Because when the doors open at F&M Bank Arena, the noise rises.
Nashville Cats.
The walls shake. And the Cats take control. Fast plays. Big hits. Non-stop arena football. Get in the den. Get your season tickets now.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Back in for the final segment of the George Plaster Show. Kelly, man, George left us for a second, so we're going to take this over for just a second while he steps back up. But, yeah, Diego Pavia, it broke like 45 minutes ago that he got released by the Baltimore Ravens. And you mentioned earlier that when something like that happens, it's pretty obvious what took place from the time he got there to this point.
Yeah, that's here's the deal. I've been in that situation before. Y'all have heard it on the show many times. I've gotten cut, but at least I made it to the last cut on all of them. When you get cut this early, George Lewis, that doesn't say a lot, man. And when you do get cut like that, I know Danny talked about it earlier. He's got to have a good agent, and I don't think he's got any representation, does he, George?
Kelly, I honestly don't know that. Look, I'm going to say something that some people may take the wrong way. I have always wondered, Jesse Minter, the new coach of the Baltimore Ravens, he and Clark Lee are very close. And I've wondered all along if that's why the Ravens took him. When you get cut this early, it's one team, and again, it's one team only saying
that's right.
He can't play in this league. So number two, I guess, Kelly, for me, at this late date, with teams about to go to training camp, nobody's going to pick him up now.
No, that's what I was going to say. Before you got me, but you're right. Nobody's going to. It's a tough time because people have already gotten their. It's not roster set, but they've got the roster set for going into training camp. There's always moves and things like that, trades going on, not trades, but moves going on. Guys get cut, and everybody's trying to pick up a better player maybe on their roster, letting go of somebody that they know can't make it. But it's not a good time to get cut right now, and that says a lot. I think it'd be interesting to see what happened, or he just couldn't cut the mustard, or they didn't want to deal with some of the. I don't know. I just think more often it's down to playing ability, and when you get cut this early, just not cut out for what people thought you were cut out. Now he's not a big guy. What is he? Did he measure in at 5'9" at the
Yeah, he's
combine,
5'9".
Lewis?
5'9".
Yeah, 5'9". I mean, I think Drew Brees was 5'10", 5'11", or something like that. But I don't know, George. It's a tough day for him. I think you're right, though. I think he could have a really nice career if he went to Canada. I mean, Warren Moon started out there, and he won a bunch of Grey Cups up there, and then he came in. Now he's an NFL Hall of Famer. Had a great career with the Houston Oilers and then the Minnesota Vikings. Not saying that he can't get back, but you got to go play football, and you got to get started somewhere. And I think that league kind of suits him because it's so spread out, and it kind of fits what he does.
But at the same time, it's a different game than when Warren Moon came from the CFL
There's no
to
doubt.
the NFL.
Yeah, but when I watch some CFL, CBS Sports Network has shown over the last couple of years some CFL. It feels like to me he can play there. I see some guys in that league that I'm just not going, oh, wow, holy cow. I think the wider field helps him. His mobility would help him. But Kelly, at some point, doesn't he have to sort of now make a decision that says, okay, the NFL door is shut for the moment. Now what do I do?
He's got to stay in shape, and somebody will probably give him another opportunity, George. I don't know. I think the great point that you had was coach to coach. They're friends, and that may be the reason that he got there. But when you see him for yourself as a head coach in the NFL, you're like, yeah, it just doesn't do it for me. And I don't know. So, he'll be up on the wall. He'll be up on those boards like Danny talked about. There'll be people looking at him if something happens, but I don't know. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for him to make it if he can get out there on the field and show what he does. But he's not very big. He's gritty. There's no question about that. He doesn't have great arm strength, which they're always talking about arm strength. I'm more about accuracy. Joe Montana didn't have
he
great
has
arm
great
strength.
accuracy.
And he does. Yeah. Joe Montana. I don't know, man. It could be hard for him. I wish him well because I was in the same boat. But to be cut right now at this time is the most inopportune time, and that kind of says a lot from if you've been around the league for a long time.
So what would you tell him? Because you have been in these kind of shoes where you got no benefit of the doubt. It's not like you went to Florida State, no knock at Middle, but it's a directional school. Right. And so you're never going to get the benefit of the doubt that some kid from Oklahoma is going to get. What kind of advice would you give Pavia?
I mean, if he truly believes and thinks he can do it, which I'm sure he does, then you have to stick it out. You have to keep yourself in shape. When a call comes, you've got to be ready, and you got to go in there, and you got to be on your best behavior. You got to do everything and above what somebody else is doing. You got to stay in that facility. You got to watch film. You got to get out there on the field with some of the players, and you got to ask around. Like if you don't get many reps, then you need the sheet after every practice because they give you a practice sheet. You need to stay out there with some guys, and you need to learn it. And you can't – the bad thing about it is I remember Jerry Angelo when I was at Tampa Bay. He told me, hey, you can't miss a pass, which is too much pressure on somebody to be put. I hated when he said that. But that's kind of true, George. You have to go out there and you have to impress people, and you can't – like the first guy can miss some passes. You can't afford to do that because you're only going to get 2 or 3 or 4 reps a practice. So you have to make the most of those reps.
So between now and the start of the NFL season, do you believe he ends up on somebody's roster, at least for preseason?
I didn't think he would get drafted. That came true, and you're asking me now. I do not think so. No, I don't. I think he may have to go play somewhere else in another league just to try to keep playing football. But who knows? I'm not in the offices of these people and don't know that. But I would say no.
Okay, let's end the show in style.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
Not too much style going on.
Not a whole lot.
Not a lot. We're 1-3 this week. So let's talk about the Red Sox for a second.
You cursed them.
Well, you make the decision in a deal like this that, look, until they lose, I'm going with them. Last night, they lost. Honestly, watching the game, I didn't see the zip that I think had been so much a part of them for 15 games. Now, some of that is simply, well, Baltimore pitched pretty doggone well. Now the challenge is, because the normal kind of human thing is for there to be a letdown. We've won our 15 in a row. Yeah, we lost. We'll get back to it in a few days. Well, the Red Sox, by way of their crappy play for the first 2.5 months of the season, they don't have that luxury. And so I'm very interested tomorrow to see what it is they do and how they bounce back. They're in the wild card by virtue of a 15-game winning streak, but only by a razor's edge, which shows how far back they were 2 weeks ago. What does this have to do with tonight? Nothing. If you look closely, there's one game. That's it. It's like New Year's Eve. What are the slowest days in sports? New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, I feel like there's some pretty good bowl games on.
Yeah. No, let me take that back. Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah. You
Christmas
might have
Eve and this.
You might have a Netflix NFL game playing these days.
Right. But one major league game tonight. Detroit is a huge favorite, like 240, meaning you put up 100, and if they lose, you lose 240. You don't do that. The Tigers aren't worth that. They don't deserve that. Take them minus a 1.5 at home against Kansas City and hope to live to tell about it. Kelly, as is the case every week, you are a Friday snob.
Friday snob. Thanks, George.
You're welcome. Enjoy being a snob. We'll see you Monday.
Get a new shirt.
I like this shirt. I don't care what you think. See all of you tomorrow.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Brett Luna. Friday's shaping up to be another nice day. We'll have high temperatures in the upper 80s. A better chance for showers and thunderstorms will move in Friday night into Saturday, but no severe weather is expected as of right now.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
The Electronic Express outlet store in Madison is now open. Save up to 80% on brand name HD TVs and appliances, mattresses, furniture, and more. Like this Roku 50-inch smart 4K TV for just $169, or a Frigidaire 26.8 cubic foot fridge, only $9.99. Plus, find huge savings on laundry, furniture, mattresses, and more with flexible financing and no credit check. But hurry, quantities are limited, and it's first come, first served. Shop the Electronic Express outlet store in Madison today.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
Welcome to Huntington Bank. We're new here, but